Hello, ELC families. This is Ms. Renee. This is the parent podcast. So, all of my little friends, if you see me on here, please, this is just going to be a conversation for parents. So, go, work on your cutting skills, find your circle, do some other productivity type things within the house. So, parents, I just wanted to touch base with everybody, see how everybody's doing. I know that quarantine can be really hard, especially with self-isolation. Something I've truthfully been, interested, kind of been an interesting thing for me. Something I've also been dealing with. So yesterday I was listening to a podcast from this girl who I look up to. Her name is Rachel Brathen. She is the basic creator of Sup Yoga, which is where you do different yoga poses on a paddle board. A little bit of backstory. Yoga has been in my life since I was 19. It's something that I don't practice daily that I'm trying to get back into. I'm actually, throughout this quarantine time, one of the things that I'm setting a goal for is to finish up majority of my 200-hour yoga teacher training, something that I have put off for about 3 years now because it deals with a trauma that I am trying honestly to move past. Just a little bit of personal information about me. But Rachel Brathen is just awesome. She gives some really good insights, very wise. Really opened up my eyes, and I just wanted to share some of the things I actually wrote down from her. And I kind of want everybody to do this with me. We're going to start a 30-day challenge, okay? So you're going to take and set a goal. My goal for the next 30 days is to get back fully into yoga, creating a routine that I can transition to once, quarantine is over and life does come back to normal, which it will. I know that right now things are really, really hard for everybody, especially being stuck inside all day. If you have yards, I know a lot of you do. Some people have balconies, again, except for days like today because it is raining. But always go out, breathe some fresh air. But I want to share with you her get back into basics ideas and some of the things that she talked about that really just stuck with me. And again, this is just all personal opinion, nothing crazy. But, just share with me, if you guys want to set a challenge for yourself, something to personally do within the next 30 days. I know that sounds, crazy, it's something like, how are we going to do this with kids? I know I don't have kids, so that does make, things a little bit easier for me. But it's something you can do with your kids. It could be a goal like every morning during quarantine for the next 30 days, we're going to cook breakfast together. We're going to do something mindful and meaningful together as a family. It can be a personal goal or it could be a family-oriented goal. Just make some type of goal. That way it's something you can do daily to keep, a positive mindset. Mindset is very important throughout this. Actually, that's something I really do want to touch with everybody. I know it can be, challenging explaining to kids why we can't go out to the movie theaters, why we can't go trampoline parks, some of you guys do that, museums. I think it's good for us to, this point in time in our lives, to get back to the basics. In fact, what I'm sharing from the list is everything back basically. Go back to our natural instincts and our natural way of things, and just, I know personally for me, before quarantine happened, one of the things I really struggle with is I didn't see my husband that much. Me and him both, have different jobs and different shifts. And now, because of quarantine, I get to see my husband more. So that's, something I am grateful for throughout this. If I'm finding more gratitude in daily things. Honestly, too, before quarantine, I was like, man, I wish I had more time to clean my house. Now I do. Sometimes still a little procrastinating about it, but it's something that I do actually do. So, but here's my back to the basics points that I took away from Rachel Brathen's podcast. So, do yoga. If you don't like yoga, try it. Yoga is for everybody. It doesn't matter age, body shape, everybody can do yoga. There are hundreds of thousands of people in all different levels of life doing yoga. I recommend it. It does help you bring you back to nature. It brings you back to your sanity. You know, if everybody says, oh, I can't do it because I have kids, you know, running around doing this, do it with kids. Kids love yoga. There are hundreds of thousands of YouTube videos out there with kids doing yoga. Seriously, try it out. You know, I'm actually eventually going to post some videos on here for everybody to follow along with at home to actually do yoga. If you want to do it with your kids, if you want to do it on your own, you know, do yoga. Seriously. Find something that nourishes you throughout this. I know that social isolation is hard, but again, find something that completely nourishes your soul. And, you know, for me, it is getting back onto my mat, getting back into like a routine. Also, one thing that has been just great for me and kept my sanity through this, I've been doing a lot of baking and a lot of gardening, like just being truthful. Baking is one of those things that, you know, and that's something great to do with kids. Like, truthfully, measurement is something that we do score kids on how well they are, you know, to have the ability to use a measuring cup. So start cooking with your kids. You know, obviously don't put them next to the stove or anything, you know, where they could possibly get hurt. You know, knives, safety, you know, be safe, you know, with it. But seriously, teaching them how to use a measuring cup and measuring spoons are a really big advantage for them. That's something I highly recommend doing. And, you know, just not looking at your phone all day. That's something I'm struggling with. You know, it's really easy for me to take and sit and go through Facebook, Instagram, you know, and just be like, oh, you know, seeing all the updates and everything with the virus. You know, it really is good to unplug, to just take and put the phone aside. You know, one thing I've been telling Rich is that when he's home, you know, I know that's his downtime and we do wind down together, but if we're watching something on the TV, then our phones don't need to be out. Like, we need to be enjoying the TV show or the movie together. You know, being present at the same time with your family is huge. Like, that's one thing I highly suggest that everybody do, is just become more and more present. You know, spend time together and just be a family. You know, like, really cherish this family time, because, you know, truthfully, before quarantine, it was probably really hard for you to spend, you know, a lot of time with your kids, and, you know, people are still struggling with that. But that's something I highly suggest, again, is, you know, just embrace this family time. Drink more water. Stay hydrated through this. That's probably one of the best things that you guys can do for your bodies. Like, everybody, kids, adults, me, you know, I honestly have been drinking a ton of water. One thing that I went and bought before we went on to shelter in place was the little bitty Crystal Light things. Yes, those are probably not the best things for you, but it helps me drink more water, just being honest right now. You know, and take care of your mental health through this. Do I think it's probably a great time to do into some type of crazy workout? Maybe. But honestly, get back to the basics. You know, honestly, one of the things that I'm going to start doing is setting a routine for myself. You know, getting up at a certain time, because that's one thing I have really struggled with. Having a certain time to do my YouTube videos, and, you know, planning, being more productive. I don't know about you guys, one of the things I'm really struggling with is constantly eating. You know, because it's so available now. So I'm going to take and start setting more times, being more mindful of maybe having certain times for snacks. You know, just, again, mindfulness is so important for your mental health through this. You know, and embracing a human connection through this. You know, hug your kids. Hug your husband or your significant other, you know, or anyone who's living with you. You know, really embrace them after they've, you know, come home and cleaned and showered and went through all the proper quarantine, you know, type stuff. But honestly, embracing that connection. I can honestly say that I do hug my husband a lot more tighter when he comes home at night, because he does work. He is, you know, without my husband, we wouldn't have trucks coming through right now, truthfully. Like, he, you know, helps that, and keeps, you know, food and goods moving through. So, you know, God bless him, really. He's one of the frontline people for this. One other thing that I'm going to start doing is making my bed every day. Apparently, that is a proven scientific thing that every successful person who's really, really successful out there does, is make your bed. It has a neurological advantage to take and just make your bed. So that's something else that I'm going to try. Moving your body for your mental health, not just your physical health. I'm not saying go out there, run 10 miles. I'm saying get up, do yoga, dance with your kids. You know, move your body, not just sitting around. You know, actually getting up and out and just being productive, because that does help your mental health. And that is a proven fact as well. It's also good for your heart, but it really, when you're moving around and dancing and doing yoga and just being physically active, you know, taking a walk with your kid, you know, just being active flushes out negativity out of your system. And that's one thing we don't need right now. You don't need negativity when we're in a, you know, home all day in a confined space. That's not something we need. We need to be more positive. Yes, things are really, really hard right now. I know that there are people out there who are struggling financially and mentally, but, you know, you need to stay positive as best as you can, because this is a phase and eventually it will end. I don't know how it's going to end, but it will eventually end. So again, stay positive. You know, again, setting structure, meal times, eating as nutritious meals as you possibly can. I know, again, that food, you know, again, we're going to have trucks come in with food, you know, do as best as you can, frozen, canned food, you know, eat as nutritiously as you possibly can for your family. I know that's hard for a lot of people, but just do the best that you can. And that's another thing too, is honestly throughout this, don't be your own worst critic. You know, don't self-criticize, because, you know, you gotta give yourself some room through this. You know, yeah, I'm gonna watch, you know, a show on Netflix. Okay, cool. Then get up and do something. You know, don't binge on negative habits, because that creates more negative habits. And again, the best thing that you can do mentally throughout all this is to stay as positive as you possibly can. With that being said, also allow yourself time to grieve if you feel like you need to do that. You know, there are people out there I know that are grieving the loss of baby showers, weddings, you know, even just steady paychecks. You know, that's something else. But allow yourself time to grieve and accept it, and then try to focus on the positive that, you know, you are getting more time with your children. You know, again, embrace the positive as much as you possibly can. One other thing that has truthfully made people feel better is to clean and organize your house. That is something that I know not everybody, you know, has time for all the time, but we are on quarantine, so we're all home a lot more. Again, they say the less clutter that you have, the happier you actually are. I'm not saying, you know, go and throw away all the food in your pantry or something like that. I'm saying simply, you know, everything has a place, and maybe finding a place for that. And there's a whole other, you know, there's a lot of things that go in with just trying to stay as tidy as you possibly can. Again, I know it's hard. Truthfully, I do know. Also, you know, just keep everything in moderation and being present throughout all this. And, you know, keep on filling your bucket with positive thoughts. Because, you know, again, this is a phase. This is not going to be forever. Yes, our way of life has changed temporarily for a while. And it is hard, and we can grieve the loss of things as they were. But we can also, you know, be grateful and thankful for what we do have. So, again, I hope that everybody is out there. And if you're worried about stuff like food, go onto the Facebook page, call the superintendent. They will, you know, help your family find food, okay? Again, everybody stay safe, stay home and stay active and mindful. So, okay, again, I hope everybody's doing well. Just my thoughts. Let me know what you think. All right, thank you so much. Bye.